Aloha and welcome everyone to another Flowetry Workshop. I'm your host, Mystic Spider-Man. Thank you to those of you who may be listening to this in the future. We're joined here with some fellow shifters within the community who I'll just bring up on camera. You guys can just kind of like wave to the camera and say hello. We've got Kristen, we've got Eloiss, and we've got Lauren. And we'll get right into today's Flowetry Workshop. And again, just for those of you who may be listening to this in the future, this is one of our private membership events for our Patreon members. So if you guys get inspired by this broadcast recording, which we put online for free on YouTube and Spotify, Paradigm Shift Radio, then definitely know that there is a possibility and the option for you to be able to join in for future Flowetry workshops, plus our other private events. And you can do that by checking out the Patreon. The link for that's in the info for this video. And yeah, thank you again so much to all our community members, to our Patreon supporters. And with the setting the intention of what the Flowetry workshop is, I'll just explain it real quick, and then we'll go into a meditation, and then we'll get right into practice. We've done a few of these workshops over the months and years. And so Flowetry is the art of being able to practice channeling creative energy through the form of spoken word poetry, song, vocalization, whatever the case may be. Whether or not you're rhyming, that's secondary, but the practice in itself is to be able to go into the heart space, tap into this infinite creative flow that comes through you, and then to be able to practice expressing it. So we'll do a little bit of a meditation, and then within this, the practice in itself, it's going to be different for every single person. It's actually designed to be able to, in some cases, help us kind of like remove blockages. And I'll be here to hold space with you guys with that. A lot of people, they'll create a story where they'll be like, oh, like I can't do this. I can't do Flowetry. And so we'll become aware of that. We'll become aware of that little voice in our head that might be like, oh, like this is going to be more hard than I'm capable of following through with. But we'll allow ourselves to just become aware of that and dissolve it as one giant meditation throughout this practice, and ultimately just anchoring into the concepts of play and of fun. So that's why I love doing this Flowetry workshop. It's incredibly fun. It's practice for me, and the work that we do here is designed to holographically ripple into all of the other aspects of our life and help us build confidence in the process of tapping into our own creative energy. So we'll get into a meditation in a minute. And again, just as a quick intro, Flowetry is something that I've been doing just for several years now. I kind of officially got into it back in like 2016. And the first version that I kind of saw, and I've told the story in other Flowetry workshops, but the short story was when I was at a festival and I met some buddies of mine who I just synchronistically met. And these guys were like doing Flowetry, like just like on the spot, like quite normally. We would be walking around the festival grounds and they were just like these total just like surfer like hippie guys, but they were like super cool, and they're basically like brothers, and they would just walk around playing their guitar and just like singing about things they're looking at, and on their spare time they would just be like making songs and just jamming out. And there was never a moment within the way that they did it where you could tell that they were putting like any sort of weight on themselves. They were just like being goofy and silly, and being around that allowed me to feel comfortable in starting to do it. And without them even asking me to do it, when we were hanging out, I just started jumping in. And then in the process of doing that, it actually became really inspiring for me because I got to witness myself doing something I had never done before. And I was like, whoa, like this is actually something I can practice. And so that's what we're doing here today. This is a practice. This is strengthening neurons, building neural pathways, creating confidence, creating a stream through which the creative energy can flow through. So the other thing that's powerful to just be able to visualize, and we'll do a little bit of meditation with this, to think of energy as like this stream of, to think of creativity as a stream of energy that flows through us. So it is literally like pouring down into us like water at all times. Over our life, we oftentimes kind of build up these blockages and these pieces of gunk that kind of prevent the water from flowing through. But this practice is designed to be able to help dissolve that. And so the concept that I like to be able to draw back to is the concept known as Alwyn. Alwyn is kind of like this druid term that refers to the creative flow of consciousness. It is literally creativity. So when the bards would tell stories, that would be them connecting with the Alwyn. When people would sing songs to the gods, it'd be them connecting to the Alwyn. So that's what we're doing here today. We're really going back to like this, like kind of like very tribal and primordial way of being able to practice tapping into our heart, not overthinking, and really focusing on feeling. And the context of Flowetry, you can do it in a variety of contexts, but for tonight, I encourage those of us here to be able, and those of us listening in the future, to be able to approach it from the perspective of conscious Flowetry. And basically what this just means is within this context, it's about being able to kind of like lean into the genre of creating flowetry that's designed to be able to inspire, that's designed to be able to draw from your personal wisdom of experiences related to life and consciousness and spirituality. So, you know, if you're doing a poem, it's like sing a poem or create a poem on the spot about, you know, the universe, about love, about reality, about mysticism, whatever the case may be, the things that naturally are exciting and inspiring to you. That, of course, is an option. If you want, you can totally like create an inspired song about whatever you want. It could be a song about, you know, it could be a song about cats. It could be a song about the weather. Even though I'm sure you could probably do a song about cats and interpret some, incorporate some conscious themes into that. But nonetheless, when you allow yourself to approach it from this idea of conscious flowetry, it's also tying in with this idea of kind of what you can think of as like the Akashic field, where you don't think about the words coming to you, you just kind of feel them and you're tapping into this awareness. And then with that, it allows it to just kind of like speak through from the intention to be able to inspire the hearts of others, to help, again, kind of like share this light that will ignite those who happen to listen. And sometimes you do flowetry without anybody listening. Sometimes you do flowetry just to be able to practice experiencing it for yourself. So we'll move into a little bit of a meditation, and then from there I'll start off. And the best way for me to be able to explain it is simply by doing it. And then from there we'll practice going around the circle. No one here has to do it. You guys are simply here you're welcome to even just be here to witness, to hold space. And then as you feel inspired, feel free to do it. But at the same time, encouraging you guys to be able to acknowledge that you'll feel nervous, especially if you haven't done this before. You know, I even get nervous, but to feel the nervousness as literally just like one little twitch away from, one little shift away from excitement. So embracing the nervousness, and then again, be able to, the core of it, bring yourself into the awareness of the breath, which is why we'll do the meditation. And it's the breath that guides us. There's no rush in this. When you allow yourself to practice going into the breath, the whole process becomes a meditation. Don't worry so much about rhyming, just focus on feeling. And then as you do this, you'll find they will naturally just kind of like surprise yourself and be like, whoa, like, you know, there's some like wise words like coming through me in this moment. So there's no competition. This is simply a practice. And again, I thank everybody so much for being here. And with that said, you guys ready to go into meditation? Thumbs up. That's cool with you guys. We'll do that. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you again to those of you tuned in. Ashley, thank you for joining us as well. And I'm sure we'll have a few more people join us as we go. So we'll do a quick little meditation. We'll just kind of visualize opening up to this like creative flow coming through us. And then this will carry with us into the practice today. So if you guys want to get nice and comfortable, do a quick little meditation. Okay. So when you're ready, go ahead and gently close your eyes. And for everybody here, just allow yourself to connect into your breath. Soft, gentle inhales through the nose and the mouth. And soft, gentle exhales. As you breathe here, just allowing yourself to arrive into this present moment. Allowing the natural rhythm of the breath to unfold, feeling the moment that the inhale meets the exhale meets the inhale. And as you breathe here, just beginning by allowing ourselves to arrive into our heart space, focusing in on gratitude for yourself, for showing up to this practice, for those of you listening in, gratitude for this space, this community, for the wisdom that we are here to share, for the inspiration we are here to share. And as you allow yourself to breathe, just take this moment to let your body relax wherever you feel it needs to relax. Straightening up your spine, opening up your chest, relaxing your face. And imagine in this moment, this beautiful, cooling energy, perhaps in the form of water. And you can even imagine this water with like a color, like a purple or a gold. And just imagine this water just kind of like coming down from the heavens and just naturally and gently just arriving on and both through your crown as it just rolls down through your body, over your shoulders, but also through your heart, through your throat, all the way down through your body. And so just visualize in this moment, this stream of energy just rolling through your body like water. And this stream is tapped into an infinite source. There is no limit to it. It is always flowing. And as this stream naturally flows through you and you naturally become aware of it, we'll just take a moment here to just be able to invite in releasing any of the dirt or the gunk or the garbage or whatever you want to think of it as, the debris, the limiting thoughts, the emotional blockages, whatever those are, just giving them permission to dissolve tonight and even to just dissolve in this moment. So just right here with that thought alone, nice big inhale. Nice big exhale, a bit of a sigh on the release. And just feel that water flowing even more smoothly. We'll do that again. Soft inhale. A bit of a sigh if you wish. Maybe gently putting your hands on your heart. And again, just holding this visualization. We'll get close to wrapping up this meditation and just allowing ourselves to tap into this awareness of this infinite flow of creativity that moves through us like water at all times, this all-wind, this beautiful, beautiful, heartfelt wisdom that is ready to be able to express itself through us. So just allowing ourselves to visualize in this moment, our body just becoming crisp and clear and illuminated and ready to be able to both listen and share as we wish tonight. And so in this moment, I just invite you to be able to use a little fun mantra. This is one I thought of earlier today. And basically, I invite you to be able to repeat the mantra, I am one with the flow and the flow is with me. I am one with the flow and the flow is with me. I am one with the flow and the flow is with me. And you can use this little mantra, just repeat it in your head right now. And even allow that mantra to like activate your awareness of this creative life force energy. So before you do Flowetry tonight, even if you just repeat that phrase once or twice, you activate into this remembrance, into this mode, into this frequency, into this mindset. You are capable. The creativity flows through you. Do you give that creativity permission to flow? Yes. Say that to yourself from the truest place within your heart. We'll just finish off with the mantra. I am one with the flow is with me. I'm one with the flow is with me. I'm one with the flow is with me. And just finishing off this meditation with a little bit of a gentle, soft smile on your face, feeling the curiosity and perhaps a little bit of the nervousness and the excitement and the playful energy that we bring with us into tonight's practice to be able to witness all of the creativity that will be coming through each of us here tonight. So with your hands on your heart, just take one more breath here. Nice big inhale, bit of an exhale sigh. Feeling nice and clear. You got this. When you're ready, gently bring your awareness back to your physical body and slowly open your eyes and return your awareness to the space around you. Cool. Awesome. Beautiful. Everybody feeling good? Thumbs up there. It's good. Everybody ready to rock? Cool. All right. Okay. So we'll get right into this. I'll start off real quick. And then from there, whoever wants to go next, you guys just let me know. No pressure either way. And yeah, we'll just have some fun with it. So I'll probably get into like doing some like sing-song stuff later tonight. I do like to try a variety of genres. I do like to even just do kind of like vocal tonation. I like to do something that's a little bit outside my comfort zone. I'll start off with something that's just kind of, again, a bit of an example. And yeah, just whatever comes through. So what I'll do, I'll just kind of tune into that. And then for anybody here, you guys are just welcome to be able to, again, just kind of like hold space and then we'll go around the circle and we'll have some fun. So, all right. So step one, and again, I'm just doing this as both my own practice and as an example. I'll, again, just kind of like get into my heart space. I'm not going to worry too much about rhyming, and I'm just going to feel if when you guys are doing this, if you feel there's a kind of like a moment where you feel as if you're like, ooh, like you hit a bit of a roadblock. When that happens, just take another breath. It's like kind of like if you're doing a presentation, instead of saying, you actually program yourself, to just take a breath. So if you do this tonight, if you feel there's like a little bit of a block, take a breath and then just allow that intuitive listening to just kind of speak the word that comes through. So yeah, let's have some fun tonight. So I'll just kind of get into this. So I am one with the flow. The flow is with me. I am one with the flow. The flow is with me. When you guys do this, you're welcome to close your eyes. You can look off into the distance. You can look into the camera, whatever works for you. So just drawing upon a source of inspiration. Okay. All right. And again, I don't know what this is going to be. I'm here to witness this with you guys. So you guys, thank you again for being here. This is fun. Okay. And so tonight is another night for us to be able to practice, my friends, to be able to be a part of this creative flow that truly does not end. Because life is but a stream for us to be able to row our boats so that we can see the wisdom that has always been within the heart of you and me. Because when we allow ourselves to simply be, we can exist in both the future and the past, but it's through the moment of this now that we realize that eternity is what truly lasts. Because it is not in the process of overthinking what it is that you must do, but it is simply through the act of feeling that which is already true. Because like the stream of a river, this moment arrives in its due time. And when we are here to be open, we will receive it. And with it comes the rhyme, because the universe is here to speak through you. It's here to be able to share its truth. And when you hold that intention in your heart to be able to inspire those around you, there's no limit to what you can do, because you are a conduit of consciousness here to be able to share your heart. And it is through the magic of this moment that you will transform the world with your art. And so I honor each and every single one of you for being here with us today so that we can continue to allow ourselves to witness the universe having its play. And for this play is but a stage, and we are just actors within this dream. And I'm so grateful that we are here together, because it would be far less fun than it may seem if it was just me here alone. But thank goodness it's not. Thank goodness you're here together with me, and together that's what we got. So chat. I'll just wrap it up there. So, anyways, so there we go. Again, just a little bit of a practice with that. Again, it's this idea that there's always something coming through you, and it's the mind that will convince you to be like, oh, like I screwed up. Like, do you screw up? Like, is that even a thing? If anything, if you feel that, again, that's just the invitation to be able to take a breath. Feel the fact that you may be a little bit nervous, but then allow it to naturally build up a momentum. There's no competition here. There's no comparison. This is a practice for you, and just allow yourself to be able to experiment, have fun, and to play. So with that said, I'd be happy to be able to pass it around to whoever wants to go next. And again, no rush. I'll jump in when there's a gap in between people taking turns, and we'll just go around. And by the time we're done this, we'll probably do it at least a few times each. And yeah, thank you guys again so much for being here. So with that said, is there anybody who would like to be able to volunteer to go next if anybody's feeling called? And no rush. We can, Kristen or Lauren, either or. Okay, how about we'll do Kristen, because Kristen's kind of done this before, and I know Lauren's still new, so we'll give Kristen a chance to be able to jump in, and then that will give Lauren a chance to still get a feel and yeah, just kind of hold space for each other. All right, let's hear a nice round of applause for Kristen. Kristen, thank you so much for joining us in the Flowetry circle tonight. And again, when you guys do this, you guys are more than welcome to. You don't have to get right into it. You can chit chat a bit. You can tell us a little bit about if you do have experience doing this, maybe what works for you. If you want to just like talk to me for a bit. So Kristen, if there's anything on your heart that you want to share just now, let us know. And then when you're ready to go into it, we'll do it then. So.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to be here. So you guys might feel a lot of like, woo, energy from me, because I just love space. I love these spaces. I'm really grateful to get a chance to play Flowetry. I'll never forget the first time I tried, because like I've listened to Brendon's Flowetry numerous times and been like, oh, he makes it look so easy. Like it's gotta just be like a flow thing. And I built this like whole idea around it of like, oh, how am I going to do it? And then when the talking stick out to me, and I was like, oh, okay, go. And it just kind of came out, and it was probably awkward and weird, but it was perfect in the moment. And yeah, so I don't know, we'll see what comes, but I'm just grateful for the chance to play and to be with you amazing souls, and to know that, you know, it is all just play. So okay. Okay, let me get my giggles out and then I'll go. Okay. All right. So whenever we begin to play, we allow ourselves to say, okay, I'm going to just dive right in and experience the way that my body wishes to express and say. The love in my heart as it unfolds each day becomes a blossom that blooms that you can smell on your way to the next exciting thing that you do within your way. And knowing that your heart can always be the thing that guides you each and every day. Knowing the wisdom that lives in your heart is irreplaceable from the very start, because it's something that lives uniquely inside of you and unfolds in the expression that you choose to do. And when you show up to say, hey, I'm here to just play, I love it when the universe lets me enjoy the day. And something about the universe getting out of the way that I think I forgot what I was supposed to say. So here I am on this beautiful day, thinking of ways to remind myself that it is all about the play.
Beautiful. Let's hear it for Kristen. Cha 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 cha. Awesome. Good job, Kristen. Yeah. Again, you know, it's fun when we can do this, because again, you know, you can think of this very much comparable to channeling in a lot of ways, but you know, channeling is something that kind of, you know, we can tap into it in any moment, so to speak. So it's like a frequency. So it's like, okay, Flowetry mode. Eventually, it's not so much the thought process of, oh, okay, I gotta do Flowetry. It's more just kind of like tuning yourself to that frequency where it's like, okay, Flowetry mode. And then again, that's a mode that you can kind of tap into. It's a flow state mode that you can tap into in other ways as well. So again, a lot of it's a feeling. It's not so much you're thinking, it's like the feeling, and then the words that kind of arrive through you. You're not thinking of what the next words are. You just allow them to kind of come through you, spoken through your throat chakra. Kristen, how did that feel for you? Again, just getting warmed up and stuff like that. So.
I feel like I found a flow state in the middle of it, and then I got excited and kind of walked away from it. So yeah, definitely more practice, be able to get into it. But I definitely can tell that difference between like being in the mind and just allowing it to flow. So
yeah, cool. Sweet. Awesome. Well, Kristen, thank you again. And with that said, we can, if Lauren, would you like to go next? We can pass it over to you if you would like to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Try. And do you have an instrument? Did you just grab an instrument?
Yes.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah. No, I like to play guitar and piano and to sing, so I'll probably try and do that whole thing.
Oh no, it's happening already.
It's already rhyming, yeah.
I was like, I'm just trying to have a normal conversation here. And Lauren, please, by all means, because again, you know, for the people tuning in, Lauren is already a musician. If you guys haven't checked out Lauren's work, again, you can find her on Instagram. We'll include that into the show notes. Lauren Nickel on Instagram. And Lauren, maybe if you just want to briefly introduce yourself and share any of your own experience with tapping into your creative flow, and then by all means when you're ready.
Yeah, so I've always been like a musician. I had a spiritual awakening experience like 5 years ago about, and since then, yeah, I'll start getting like channeled downloads. Usually it happens like randomly, like I'm not trying to channel, but I'll be in a meditation or I'm hiking, and yeah, I'll just start hearing music in my head. And so for me, it's usually this thing that happens kind of like randomly. And when it happens, like I know, okay, I gotta like write it down before I forget it. So yeah, I'm excited to try just improvising, because that's not something that I'm as comfortable with, just like making it up on the spot. So here we go. Speak my truth, even though it's hard to do. I'm scared to show the person I know I am. Set yourself free. This is the new way that we can all be. Be yourself. Share your heart. Connect with others. That's how we start. We'll flow. We'll flow. And make it up as we go. All right, I think that's all I got for this first one.
That was so good. Beautiful. Thank you, Lauren, guys. Let's show Lauren some love there.
That's
Lauren,
so amazing.
Yeah, that was really good. And what was actually quite trippy, I felt myself singing along with it, like in a weird, like it was, see, that's the thing that kind of like, it gets pretty metaphysical here, where it's like, I could feel the flow that you were in. And like, I was actually like, as if I was like singing the songs, even though we were just making it up. And I could like, because even in some cases, I'm like, you could almost anticipate what the words were going to be with the rhyme and stuff like that. And it was cool. Like I was legit felt like I was singing along, even though I had never heard it before, which again, is kind of like the future rippling into this present moment. But Lauren, how was that for you? How did that feel?
Good. Yeah, there were like moments where it was flowing, and then moments where I felt like I was definitely like reaching to find words and rhymes. But I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm just like so used to like finding rhymes that maybe it's hard for me to let go of that part of my mind.
Right. Yeah, no, and that's again, it's almost harder to like try doing Flowetry without rhyming if you're like intentionally just like set that container for yourself somehow. But I think one of the things that, again, when I was working with my buddies in California, like that was the thing they emphasized. It's like, you know, in place of rhyming, like the cadence is what you can sort of incorporate into it. So even if it's not a rhyme, you know, how you say it, and then you just kind of, you move into the next thing, because, you know, before the audience is like, wait a second, that didn't rhyme, you're already into the next thing. And then you just kind of, again, the objective is just kind of like keep flowing into the next thing. And then lo and behold, you know, another rhyme comes around the corner, so to speak. Like that's kind of the idea, is that there's always more kind of coming. And then as we have already been doing, you know, you just kind of feel like, okay, like that feels like a good place to stop for now, sort of thing. But it's kind of trippy, because like if you were to literally just be in a state, you know, you could literally just be doing Flowetry for as long as you feel you want to kind of be in that place for as well. So Lauren, that was awesome. Thank you so much. And even the fact that you were like doing it like with the guitar right away, did you feel that made it easier or harder for you? Because obviously you're a little bit more comfortable with the guitar, I imagine.
Yeah, I feel like for me, because I'm a musician, the chords help me have this kind of like structure, and I know like where the notes should go next, at least. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Very good though. That was fun. I'll probably be try playing my Merlin guitar later. And when I play my Merlin guitar, it's like I am not like a good guitar player. So it's like, it's just like testament to the fact that you don't even have to be like good at an instrument to be able to play it. But, you know, it's just everybody here, you know, we all got a variety of experiences and skill levels, but that's secondary to just being able to tap in with whatever our personal flow is, which is why, again, you know, for people tuning into this, I know there were people who listened to the recording of this last time and they were like, whoa, like listening to this actually inspired me to try doing Flowetry. And they would do it like out on a walk or something like that. You just do it on your own time. And yeah, it's pretty inspiring to kind of like witness ourselves doing something we haven't done before. And be like, whoa, like that came out of me. Like, whoa, okay, that was pretty cool. So cool. Lauren, anything else? And then we'll move it around to whoever would like to go next, and we'll keep going around and we'll come back. So
no, yeah, feel free to have someone else try.
Cool. Awesome. Lauren, thank you again. And with that said, Eloiss, how are you feeling? Do you want to, even if you just want to chit chat for a bit, that's totally fine. You can let us know if you would like to try next.
Sure. I'll try it. I'll give it a try. Cool. But yeah, I was saying before, I do have a background in music, and I had actually like thought I was going to do like a career in music. That's why I went to my undergrad. I started in music performance, but I don't know. The teacher I had, like, would like make me cry literally, and it was like it was so awful. So he like really ruined like music for me. But I like have a piano, so I like tinker around, and I also like learned the ukulele. Like I taught myself, and that was after after I had moved on from doing music in school. So it's always like been there, been a part of what I do, and yeah. And I love to just like go around I'm like constantly just like singing random stuff around my house. So I feel like I already kind of do this. So I just have to trust myself that I like know how to do this.
That's awesome. Well, we're here to hold space for it. And Eloiss, I was just gonna check in. Is there any way you can adjust your microphone level? Like, I'm not sure if you have access to those settings. Your microphone's just coming through like a little bit hot. Did you notice that, Lauren, that her microphone just sounded like a little bit higher? Yeah, if you may just be able to notch it down just a bit before we get into it.
I don't really know how to.
If you don't know how to do it, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal, because that's usually like a back end setting. So it's okay. Not a big problem.
I know. This is like my work computer. I don't really know anything.
All good. We'll just go with the flow. So cool. All right. Eloiss, we can pass it over to you if you would like to be able to give it a shot. Is that cool with you? Cool. Okay. Yes. All right. So for everybody here, show love to Eloiss. Show love.
We're here to make friends, but that's not where it ends. There's an entire universe for us to see. Not just see, but to feel and be in a state of alignment with everything. We are all one. We're all one, and each one of us shines like the sun in our own way, with our own little sway, just like the trees and the birds and the bees. That's where I ended.
Beautiful, guys. Show love for Eloiss. Eloiss, good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm showing myself love.
That was good. And if you just want to even just share a bit, like how was that for you? How do you feel?
Good. I like that. I do get caught up on the rhyming thing because I've like written poetry in the past, and so that's kind of, I think, where that like, and sometimes when I write poetry, it is almost like free writing in a sense. So I think that's kind of like what I tapped into for a minute, of like how I was kind of doing that, and it felt good. But yeah, and then I kind of was like, oh, I lost it, which is fine.
Yeah,
first time. So
that's and again, right? Like it's all just practice. So and it's interesting, like even in those moments where we feel like we're kind of like losing it. Again, within those moments, if we kind of feel that, because it does have a feeling to it, that's where if we can just kind of program ourselves to just be like, okay, now's a great time to just take a breath, and then you just kind of do that, switch into this listening state. Because again, usually where it's like, there's like a difference between just kind of being like, okay, that's a soft ending, or there's a difference feeling where it's just kind of like suddenly you're just like, oh, I got to think of something. And then you're thinking about something. And then you find you almost kind of like create this little, and I'm saying this from my own experience too. So when we become aware of that, that's where, again, just be able to be like, okay, I'm thinking I need to think something. What I can actually do right now is just kind of like slow down and feel something. So again, kind of like that balance between the two. Does that make sense, so to speak?
Yeah, definitely. That actually makes so much sense to me and really resonates, because I feel like you know, when like at a certain point, like shame in the world and like things like get on you and you like become like, you've like built up your armor and you're like, I'm in the shell and like no one's gonna get to me. And when I went to college, I like could not think of things to say, like just in regular conversation. And that was that feeling of like, oh my God, I'm thinking of things to say. Like I'm thinking about thinking what to say. And like, and then it would just like completely block me from being able to have a normal conversation with anyone. And then I like struggled to like make friends at parties and such in that way. And so like, that really resonates of like, yeah, just letting go of that, the need to like, for it to be anything for anyone else and just like, let it be what it is for you and like, let it just like come to you.
Yeah. No, again, that's what the practice is. Like, this is a practice where we get to observe those kind of like thought patterns and limiting beliefs and old habits and stuff like that. Like that's where, again, in the times that we do this, I hope that for those of you who tune in and even those of you who listen, I hope that this can be whatever it needs to be for you. And I know for some people who have come here in the past, they would participate and they'd be like, whoa, like that was really healing for me. You know, that literally in the practice of this helped me dissolve some sort of limiting belief that passed down somewhere along my experience that said, you know, like you can't do this, or you suck at this or something like that. And that's such a human thing. So like in the process of doing this, you know, this is a chance for us to really be able to like send love to those parts of ourselves and to observe them, but then to just kind of play with them and be like, oh, there's that thought. There it is right there as you're doing it. And then to just kind of breathe, relax, and then again just kind of in that softening go back to that visualization of the water flowing, and then just be like, and then you just kind of get into that space. And then when you're listening, like that's the thing, like the Flowetry, it's speaking, but it's also listening. Like it begins almost with listening. Like you hear things within your heart, and then a second later, then you kind of like speak it, so to speak. And then sometimes over time that becomes like smaller and smaller, that distance between the listening and the speaking. And that's where even for myself, it's like, I don't know what I'm going to say. Here it comes. And then it's like, I'm listening to myself as I'm saying it, where I'm like, oh, like that was kind of cool. Like, what was that sort of thing? So yeah, but yeah, no, it's a practice. Eloiss, you did great. And thank you again for having the courage to be able to practice sharing. And for everybody, again, this does take courage. It does. So Eloiss, thank you again. So.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, Lauren, go ahead. Jump right in.
I was just going to say I had one of those like precognitive moments right before she said birds and bees. I like thought that to myself, the birds and bees.
That's what I was talking about. We do this. We hang out in a group and it's like this collective hive mind energy bubble that we create. So notice that. Pay attention to that throughout tonight. You guys may notice that where you'll actually like anticipate what someone's about to say, and it's like, whoa, what's going on there, right? It's like this psychic field we're merging.
Right? It even makes me wonder, did I telepathically send her that thought, or was that?
I almost didn't say it. I was gonna say that was a weird moment for me too, because I was almost like, this doesn't really go here, but it does kind of go here, and so I'm gonna say it. And like, so I remember that being a moment too. So that's cool. That's so. Oh, I got goosebumps all of a sudden.
That's cool.
I also wanted to say I've had this like little tea thing I saved like from forever ago, and the message on it. Oh, it's backwards reflected.
We can read it. It's not backwards for us.
Oh, okay. But I'll read it. So it says, "Speak to make yourself happy. Don't speak to impress others." And I was like, this like is one of those moments where it was like, why did I keep this? But it like makes sense here.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah, no, I think again, it's a very personal practice when we do this. Like, yes, we're, like oftentimes, even I think back on the times when I would go up and do poetry on stage, not even Flowetry, just poetry, where it'd be like, yeah, this is sharing something for someone else, but like, I'm doing this also for me. Like I'm doing this to be able to have the experience, and then, and then I do another one and another one and another one. So it's interesting with Flowetry because again, it's a muscle. You're building it, and you guys come here, you come back in a month, maybe you've practiced a little bit in between, and then suddenly the confidence naturally builds. Again, like the stream, you kind of remove the garbage, and the flow becomes just like more consistent, so to speak. So we can jump into another one. Lauren, if if you want to, if anybody's like feeling eager, like it's just like, I want to go next. If you guys let me know, like I'm willing to wait, but I'll go if there's again a little bit of a gap, we can go through the rotation again. Ashley, thank you for joining in. Ashley, feel free to let us know if you want to jump in at any point too. I know you're an avid supporter as well. So Lauren, just checking in with you or with Kristen, do either of you guys want to jump in before I jump in? You guys just let me know. I'd be well, okay, I'll do a quick one. Cause, and again, like, this is like legit. Like, I'm like, ooh, like I want to do stuff I haven't done before. Like I want to practice, like for me, doing the Flowetry and just like spoken word. I do that a bunch. I do it in my tarot broadcast a bunch. What I don't do is like the singing, like the vocal combination of the two. So I'll play around with that. If you guys are cool with holding space as I embarrass myself with a little bit of singing. And I say that in like a totally just like playful way where it's like, yeah, like let's go embarrass ourselves. Like, you know, it's just like, why not? Right. So it's quite humble. So when we can like willingly embarrass ourselves, like, man, like that, it kind of, yeah, you know, it's like taking off our armor, you know? So, yeah, it goes a long way. Cool. Okay. Is that, you guys are cool with that? You guys want to, I'll jam out for a second. Okay. All right. What the hell am I going to do here? So we'll see. Like I said, I don't even know, man. All right. I am one with the flow and the flow is with me. I am one with the flow and the flow is with me. So, I have to kind of feel this might be like a playful one. It might be a serious one. Let me just kind of check in with myself. So I'm just going to meditate. And again, I may even just keep my eyes closed on this one. We'll see. What you guys may find if you do this, when you close your eyes, since it removes some of the stimulus, it like allows you to just kind of like focus in a bit more. So that's a technique you can use. And so as the sun rises, young prince, where will you go? Will yet to be decided. Before you, these hills will roll on. Behind you, trailed by your soul, and through your heart you will start. For beyond those hills, your treasure waits. Beyond those hills, as you carry with you a sword gifted to you. Remember these ancient words given to you. This quest in your heart to light the beacons near and far, traveling from star to star, traveling from star to star. Your strength is more than what you wear. Your sword is sharper than what you carry. The strength of you is inside your heart. It's the love that has been given to you since the start. And so carry it with you as far as you go. Young prince, you shall know. Okay, there. Did anybody else get a specific vibe from that? And I'm only asking because I'm going to tell you what vibe I kind of like connected into. There's like, you guys tell me, but I'm just curious if anybody picked up on something that I was kind of like tapping into real there. Maybe like, how was that for you guys? Did that sound like a thing? Was it music?
It felt kind of like a cosmic folk song.
A cosmic folk song. Yeah, I mean, it was, I guess. Yeah, it definitely was. It was about like the hero on their journey, right? So yeah.
I got like ancient Merlin vibes.
Ancient Merlin vibes. Yeah. No, there's definitely a bit of that.
Yeah, there was definite like Gregorian chant vibes, and it reminded me of. I've been like, actually like curious if you've seen this, but have you seen Koyaanisqatsi?
I'm not familiar with them. No.
It's a film done to Philip Glass music, but they use like chanting in the background. And it was like that same pitch. It was like so reminiscent of that. But you should check that out. Everyone should check out Koyaanisqatsi because it's a cool film about so Koyaanisqatsi means life out of balance.
How do you spell that? Or just type it in?
I'm going to type it in. Yes, yeah. I was planning on typing it in.
Yeah.
But there's like no words or anything to it. It's just like like kind of about how humans have messed up nature.
Interesting.
Life is out of balance in the world.
Yeah. Cool. Well, you know what what was coming through me, and you guys tell me if it sounded anything like this to you. Earlier today, me and Lacey, we were doing some tarot pulls, and one of the cards that we actually pulled was and this is a card that I pulled for myself, was the Prince of Flames, and what's really, really trippy is in the deck that I have, the Prince of Flames card, the artwork actually shows a depiction of Jim Morrison from The Doors. And then so like I've resonated with this card before. And then when I was singing that, as I started singing to it, there were a few notes in there that were basically from the Doors songs. If you notice, it was just like, it was literally like, there's like some like Riders in the Storm going on in there sort of thing. I don't know if did like, now that I mention it, did you guys?
Yeah, now it clicks a little bit for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that was fun. I mean, again, it's just like, oh, I've never I'm just gonna, that's what I was doing. I'm like, if this was a Doors song, what might it sound like or something like that? Good combination of like psychedelic mystery and folk tunes or something like that. So cool. Awesome. Let's keep passing things around. Thank you guys again for holding space. That was outside of my comfort zone, and I hope it just continues to inspire us to play with whatever else comes through tonight. So Kristen or Lauren, if one of you guys wants to go next, you guys just let me know, and then we'll keep going, and we'll keep an eye on the time as we go. So
yeah, I'll try another.
Sure. All right. Okay. So for everybody here, we'll bring Lauren up to the stage, and Lauren, if you want, again, even just chat about anything beforehand, it's up to you, and sending you lots of love. So show love for Lauren.
Thank you. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to try without a guitar just because I feel like melodically you can do a lot of different things if I'm not thinking of a chord ahead of time. Okay. Yeah. I'm just going to meditate for a sec. Do you remember who you are? You are everything. You're made of stars. We are all connected by this energy. I am God and God is me. And will you sing it so others can hear it? And we can all connect together as one. Yep, I think that's it.
Beautiful. Awesome. Guys, show some love for Lauren. That was amazing. Lauren, go ahead. How did that feel for you?
Yeah, good. I feel like, yeah, I can maybe be a little more like free form if I'm not using the guitar. So yeah, it's just like a different experience.
Mm.
And yeah, I feel like if I'm not using the guitar, it's like I can hear what needs to come next a little better because it's just my voice and I'm not like relying on an instrument.
Mm. That makes sense. So cool. Well, that was beautiful. I like, again, you know, if you didn't know any better, you'd be like, oh, like that's a real song, right? But it is a real song. Came through in the moment. It is now. Like that was good. That was good practice. So cool. All right, Lauren, anything else, and then we'll pass it around.
No.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you again for sharing. And Kristen, would you like to practice going next? Yeah.
I just wanted to say, Lauren, that felt like being held by the cosmic mother. So I just wanted to share that, like, that was what it felt like. So thank you.
I love that. Thank you.
I really wanted to practice trying to sing a Flowetry song. I'm feeling very nervous, but I want to practice. So I know this is a safe space. I'm going to just like drop in to my heart space and we'll see what comes. Hey, you with the sad eyes, I see you in me. And when we share what's in eternity, we can see the light that lives in our hearts and beats as one. When we share our gifts as freedom, we can feel the love that flows, letting your breath guide into one as we flow through eternity. As the sky sings its beautiful song and the moon wraps lullabies, may you know each star is a shine of you, and you are here to be exactly in this now moment, who you were always meant to be. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you.
Beautiful. Show love for Kristen. Kristen, great job. Was anybody else just like meditating while listening to Kristen sing? Like that was very much like a lullaby that was coming through. Yours and Lauren, very lullaby-ish in a lot of ways. Like I feel like even just as we're doing this, like and this is intentional, you know, the vibe is very similar to like, it feels like we're just kind of like around the campfire. like this is very, very primordial. This is what back in the day our ancestors would have done this, which is why I think when we tap into this, we're like, oh, like this is actually something that's like nurturing a part of my heart that maybe hasn't been nurtured quite in this way. Kristen, how did that feel for you? That was beautiful.
It was beautiful. Thank you all for letting me share. It was like, I think once I kind of let go of the fact that I don't care what my voice sounded like, but just kind of letting it be, I found almost like a silk of ribbon. I just kind of followed it. So.
I love that. That's a beautiful visualization there too. Yeah, so you felt it then, like what we were talking about. You felt that what you're describing as like a silk ribbon, eh?
Yeah, it was like I could feel it kind of flowing around me, and then I just kind of hit the wave with it and just kind of.
Yeah. And that's where, again, like the channeling, whether, you're approaching this from the perspective of channeling. With channeling, you get into a place when you're practicing Flowetry, it's very trance-like, you're literally kind of like shifting into a conscious state that is like a self-induced trance. And then again, you're just kind of like, okay, like I'm a conduit for the flow. You've set the intention, you've set the direction, and then it's just kind of like, and then you just kind of like move into that. And so that was very beautiful. Kristen, anything else before we keep passing it around? That was good. Cool. Well, congratulations, Kristen, going outside your comfort zone. Guys, show some love for Kristen. That was awesome. Beautiful. All right. And from there, we'll keep passing things around. Again, since we got a smaller group tonight, the benefit of that is that we do get to just be able to have more frequency in terms of the terms, taking turns. Eloiss, would you like to be able to practice again now?
Sure. Kind of have to collect myself. Actually, when you brought up that like reference to like sitting around the fire, actually like that tapped into like a childhood thing. Like I used to go camping with my parents a lot. I went to like a lot of summer camps, even without my parents, and like, yeah, singing around the campfire. It's just like, I feel like I'd never realized how much of a presence that had in my life, and like how much that is like a very primordial thing, and that I've missed it the last couple of years. I mean, I go sit by a campfire by myself with my dog, but like it's not the same.
It's nice to be able to like hear and be heard being in the circle. So yeah, this is our digital campfire. So no, I definitely feel it. Like, again, like doing these workshops, it's like, oh, like this kind of like, this like fills a part of my spirit that can only be filled through, through something of like this or similar nature. So cool. Well, Eloiss, do you want to, is there anything in particular you want to try this time?
No, I'm just gonna go with the flow again.
Cool. All right. Well, for everybody here, show love for Eloiss, and Eloiss, take your time. If you want to, again, just kind of like close your eyes, take a few breaths, no rush. And we're here to hold space for you. So when you're ready.
He told me to fly, so I asked how high, and he asked, how high can you go? Well, I don't know, was my response, because I haven't tried. But if I get the chance with my years and love, I will take the leap and go as far as I can. But I cannot go alone. My strength does not flow without the love of others to help me grow. The trees grow high with the roots down deep, entwined with their brothers and sisters. I have no siblings of my own, but each soul is a chance to meet a sister from a past or a brother from a future. And we all hold hands in the infinite ether. Where I feel their love and compassion rain down on me, even in this weird, neat human body. Sometimes it's tingles and sometimes it's sadness, sometimes it's joy, and sometimes it's madness. But it gives me hope that there's more to this world, and I'll fly as far as I can with whomever I can. And I hope that you'll come along.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Eloiss. Wonderful job. It's cool. Again, even just from just starting this workshop, just getting into it and everything like that, like already just being able to like witness the progression within all of our practices as well. Eloiss, how did that feel for you this time?
Good. I just like went into my own brain and like I don't even know how I was like saying things or sentences, but yeah, just seeing what came to me, I guess.
Cool. Yeah, I find that again, like with Flowetry, what naturally happens is that we naturally start telling stories, which is actually quite interesting for all of us. We're like kind of creating these little stories that we suddenly conceptualize through again through the spoken word and song and poetry and stuff. So yeah, Eloiss, that was wonderful. Thank you again so much for sharing, and happy to be able to have you here, and we'll keep things practicing. Anything else you would like to share, Eloiss, right now before we pass it around?
No, just gratitude for the space and for having a space to like explore these things.
Cool.
I have this like, I can't remember ever what the word for it is, like clair whatever, but I feel like I have like clair, like what knowing, whatever that means.
Clair cognizance, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So it's hard for me to put into words how something comes to me. Like some people, they're like, I hear that, or like I feel that, and like sometimes it just comes to me and I just don't know how to express that in words.
Clair cognizance is one of the hardest ones to be able to trust. So like you're not alone in that one.
Yes, it's so hard. And when I talk to people about it, I feel like I'm crazy. Like so yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you again, Eloiss. Yeah. Again, with creating this class, this workshop, again, there's multiple reasons for me feeling called to create it. And again, so much of it is because for those of us in this community as conscious creators, creating a space like this, again, is creating things that suddenly naturally evolve into other parts of our work, where either we're getting inspired to do more freestyle stuff, or we just find ourselves naturally becoming more confident in being live on camera, maybe doing a live broadcast. Like even when I'm doing my tarot, it's not always flowetry, but it very much just is me kind of like tapping into my heart and being like, okay, what does the universe want to say through me in this moment? This isn't just for me. This is like for whoever is listening. And then, it is a very interesting thing. Even right now, like, it's like, am I thinking about the words I'm going to say? Like, no, I'm just being present, and I know what I'm talking about, but then thus in turn, the words just naturally come through me. So, again, public speaking is one of like those things that people have at the top of their list for things they struggle with and things they have fear of. And I think it's totally understandable. But again, like, what is that coming from? A lot of it is like, old paradigms, programming, how we think others are going to be able to perceive us. So creating the spaces, again, it's about tapping into creativity, but then over time, it's like building confidence. And that confidence is the confidence to be able to say, like, hey, like, I'm just going to witness what comes through me. It's not going to be something that I'm going to, like, expect it to be this or that. And then you can start to kind of like play with like different styles and containers. But yeah, really bringing it back to the place of play, I think is very, very important with what it is that we're doing here tonight. So thank you again, everyone, for joining in. We'll keep things going until, I would say, by 10 o'clock. If we're feeling like we're ready to wrap up, then we'll wrap up. So in about maybe 25 more minutes, which will give us a little bit more time to go around with everybody here. And if you guys are cool with it, I'd love to be able to jump in for another one. And then either Lauren or Kristen, if you guys want to jump in afterwards. So I'm gonna get a little bit playful, since again, we've kind of had a few different styles tonight. I'm just gonna get like goofy and play with my Merlin, which is an instrument. It's not even called a Merlin guitar. It's just called a Merlin, which is like a particular style of stringed instrument. It's not even tuned properly. Not right now. I don't consider myself like a expert guitar musician or whatever, but again, I've still had periods within my journey where like I've totally just had fun just like jamming out on this. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to kind of tap into fun, and we'll just see what comes through. So thank you again, everyone, for holding space. I'll do this one, and then we'll keep the circle going from here. So let's see, what do I want to think about? Okay. All right. It's okay if you've lost your way, because no one is gonna tell you how to truly play, because how you play is unique to your song, because you can sing it all day long. There's a light within your heart that's weird, and this world is better because you're here. So keep on singing the song that's in your heart, 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 hearts, heart, 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 hearts. I like the fact that you're kind of weird, because that's what makes this world kind of queer. It's not the things that are just the same. I've seen that each and every single day. Show me something new that I've never seen. Take me somewhere that I've never been. I want to go places we've never gone. I want to sing magical songs that are about the wizards and dragons far away, that are about the UFOs that will pick us up someday. Sing me a song that's as weird as you are. Sing me a song about the stars, sitting around the campfires all night long, sitting and holding hands, singing this song. I like the fact that you're kind of weird because it's what makes this world pretty queer. And I mean that in the most beautiful way. When things are diverse, it gives us more ways to play. So keep on singing your weird song. Keep on riding these waves all night long. This world is a better place because you're weird. And I'm so grateful that we're weird and we're here. Cha 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 cha. Cool. Thanks, guys. How was that? Feel free to unmute yourself if you guys want. Was that good? Was that a fun one?
Loved it. It was great.
Thanks. Did you guys relate? Was it inspiring and stuff?
Yeah, I like that you even like brought it back, like, you know, the chorus.
Somehow a chorus came out, right? Like just happens, man. So that was awesome. Yeah, no, like I don't know, like when I play, I find there's like certain styles of playing where like it's like it's not the same song, but it's just like there's like this style of play and yeah, it's like it's like talking sing song sort of thing. I don't know how to describe it, but I don't know. For me, it makes it easy where I just get like really just kind of like da, 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 like I don't know, remind myself of like I don't know. It's like I think I grew up listening to a lot of Weird Al or something like that. It must have gotten me all ready for it. Anyways, cool. Thank you guys so much. That was fun. We'll keep things passing around. Lauren, would you like to go next? We'll relatively go with the same order we were previously in.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Let's see. Maybe I'll bring the guitar back. I don't know what will happen next, but I'm following the next steps. Just one foot forward, then the left. Just express and be free. There's no shame in being me. So I'll sing for my friends, and we'll all express. Oh, we'll express the songs of our soul. We'll get to know. We let it out. Don't hold it back. You've got something to say, and the world needs to hear it. Yeah, the world needs to hear it. So just be free. Sing it with me. Have fun. And don't overthink. 'Cause when I'm thinking in my head, things get weird and they are stress. But flowing is cool 'cause... Yeah, okay, well, I think I think I lost it.
That was so good. That was awesome. That was a good streak that you had going on there too. Yeah, that was so cool. And yeah, like even just listening to that, like kind of inspires me. Like I like when you're getting into that and you could just like, you could feel like there was that extra kind of like, as if you're on stage being like, okay, like the volume increases and you can just kind of feel like a little bit more comes into the vocalization of it. That was awesome. How did that feel?
Good. Yeah, no, there's like moments where like I'm flowing, I'm like, okay, this is sick. And then there's moments that I'm like, fuck, like what am I gonna say next?
And it's interesting because like even as you're doing that, you're like you're still singing it, but then there's like this whole other layer of dialogue inside your thoughts. Be like, fuck, okay, keep going, don't, it's like
yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah, no, again, thank you, Lauren, for being here. It's beautiful just to be able to like witness your style just kind of like naturally evolving as we're just like here in the circle and stuff. And I mean, even doing that, like, did that feel, I know like it's still like a little bit outside of your comfort zone, but like once you get into it, did it feel like natural for you? Like, did you find that silk ribbon, so to speak?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's the moments where, yeah, I'm flowing and not really caring. And then, yeah, there'll be moments where like your ego comes back in and you're thinking like, oh, like, am I saying something good? Am I saying, like the self-awareness?
Totally.
But yeah, I mean, just with practice, yeah, I think it definitely helps to just like let it out and let it flow and
yeah,
practice being in that state.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Well, Lauren, thank you again. And yeah, we'll keep things moving along from here. So, Kristen, if you would like to go next, we can do that. And Candice, welcome to the circle. Happy to be able to have you here. We've been jamming out pretty hard. We'll keep.
Yeah. I love expressing through poetry. It's cool and it's healing because it can create worlds through words. It's awesome.
Absolutely. So, Candice, we're I think Kristen's probably going to go next. We'll go around a little bit more. If you would like to be able to share, you're most welcome. Again, we're getting into the space where we're tapping into like the kind of like improvised flowetry. At the same time, Candice, even if there's any poetry that you've already written, if you'd like to share that, that's totally welcome as well. So we'll just go with the flow and we'll let you get comfortable. So.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Candice. All right. And Kristen, would you like to be able to give it another go?
Okay, I've been thinking. I want to practice. I want to practice something totally different if you guys are open to it. I want to practice doing like a flowetry focused on each of you because believe it or not, I actually have like a little bit, not a lot, but like a little bit that connects me to each one of you. So I don't know. Could I practice?
It's good. Like, see, that's the thing, like with flowetry and I alluded to this earlier, but just to reiterate it, it's like having those sources of things that you could just kind of talk about, that you could talk about in conversation to tap into. That's helpful. And sometimes if you're not really sure what to say about, if you feel like you're stuck, talk about what you're feeling like in the present moment. And that's where it can get very meta, where it's just like suddenly you're doing, it's like and I don't know what I'm gonna say, but I'm just making song anyway. Like you can do that, like, and then even there that becomes somewhat of a bit of a buffer. But yeah, I usually encourage people, they're like I don't know what to sing about. They're like, sing about what you're feeling right now, and then sometimes that becomes launch point. But the topic of, yeah, if you want to sing about us, please, Kristen, by all means. I'm like you said, I'm sure there's something you could say about each of us. So yeah, Kristen, I'm welcoming you onto the stage, and please, by all means, when you're ready, go ahead, and we're here to support you.
I'm going to take the extra level of stress out and not actually sing it, but I will still.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you all so much for this opportunity to play. I'm really excited and nervous. Okay. All right. In my heart center, one good deep breath. My beautiful Ashley, your face is unknown, but your spirit is always ever aglow. You sing from your heart and it echoes miles away. The presence you hold is irreplaceable, they say. Sometimes Eloiss may come into the room with her witchy vibes and her little magic broom, and sharing her love, and her spark ignites a beautiful light in the spaces that she shines so bright. And this lovely Candice, with the wisdom she holds in all the spaces she goes, it unfolds and unfolds, and it shares a space that is connective and true, and a wisdom that loves between me and you. And the beautiful Brendon and all the wisdom he shares, and the ways that we play, and oh my, how they stare whenever you go into the places that you share your voice and you encourage the wisdom to unfold from that place that lives within that heart. As the dust unfolds, a whisper of a wind can blow it into the unknown. And the beautiful Lauren, with her gifts unbound, as she goes through the nature, listening to the songs of the sounds that live within her heart and unfolds into the world. What a gift to be present in this magnificent unfurl of a space that we share, uniquely expressed. And in a breath, we can become present.
Chat, 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 chat. Awesome. Thank you, Kristen. Beautiful words from the heart. Kristen, how did that feel for you? That was a little outside your comfort zone, like you said, eh?
I will say I was way more in my head than I wanted to be. Like, I wish I could have dropped it a little more down the heart, but I'm going to practice more. I'm going to practice.
Yeah. No, and again, like that's anytime we do this, it will always kind of be like a spectrum where like sometimes we need to be more in the head, sometimes we'll be more in the heart, sometimes it'll be a bit of both. So that was cool though. I like that concept of just like, I do like that idea of just like, be like, okay, what am I going to sing about? It's like, oh, I'll sing about the person sitting across from me. Like I've done that with Lacey before. I'll just be like, here, Lacey, I'm just going to sing a song about you, which is like drawing from emotional experience, right? Like the emotion is like an infinite well of wisdom. You could talk about your emotions all day long. So at least I know I could. So I'm sure we all could in some way. So cool. Okay, well, let's keep things going here. Again, we're gonna keep to a schedule, and again, that's also just to be able to make sure that speaking of Lacey, I'm spending some time with her tonight. Otherwise, this would be like a 3-hour broadcast. We're gonna keep things going, and Eloiss, would you like to be able to go next? And then after this, again, Candice, if you'd like to go, and we'll go through at least even just one more quick one, and then we'll call it a night from there. So Eloiss, would you like to go again?
I'm just going to express some gratitude. I'm kind of tired. I had a long day at work, and so I'm just going to express gratitude and pass it along so Candice can share some stuff with us. And yeah, thank you all so much. This was so inspiring, and I've enjoyed being able to kind of tap into my creativity more here. And yeah, I will definitely be practicing.
Awesome. Thank you, Eloiss. And yeah, again, you know, for everybody here, like as a bit of homework that you can do with you, like, yeah, just give yourself those opportunities to practice Flowetry when you're just like out and about your day, you know, maybe when you're like walking the dog or something like that. Even try doing it when you like put on some instrumental music, something in the background, and then just kind of do it. I remember sometimes like some of my best Flowetry, I was like exercising in the middle of a field, and like I would like do this crazy stuff, and I would be like, whoa, like I can't even replicate that, but like something came through there, and it was just kind of like, yeah, it was like while I was like exercising, so like my channel was really open in that sense. So even if you guys, you know, it's just like, okay, I'm gonna do some Flowetry, it's like, okay, I'm gonna like stretch first, do a little bit of energy clearing, maybe take a shower, whatever the case may be. But again, it's a practice. That's all it is. And I thank everybody again for being here, and I hope that in some way this inspires you and just helps you see more of that capacity within you to bring this out into all of your crafts and art. So Candice, would you like to be able to share if you have some poetry, if you would like to practice any Flowetry?
Yeah, I'll do floating
Cool.
now.
Cool.
Okay, I'll
So Candice, so we were talking about this before you got here. So please, by all means, just take a moment. Again, just think of it as a meditation. Take a few breaths. We were using the mantra, I am one with the flow and the flow is with me. So when you're in your heart space, speak from your heart, speak about spirituality, whatever you feel called to share. So Candice, we're holding space for you. So let's show some love for Candice.
Okay, just jumping up in the skies, I flow through the air and come by surprise. I drop down like a blueberry bumblebee. Come and dance with me. Everything is a surprise, and we all come as 1, 2, 3, be free. Love in me, love in you, love in everything we do. That's it.
Beautiful, guys. Show some love for Candice. Candice, thank you so much for joining us. How did that feel, Candice?
It felt good. I just spoke from the heart. It was awesome.
Awesome. Good job, Candice. Very, very well done. Thank you. Thank you again. So cool. All right. Candice, anything else you would like to share? And then we'll again, we're getting close to wrapping it up, but we'll still go around at least one more time. So
that's good. If something comes up, I'll see it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Candice. Cool. All right. Just sticking with the order of things. What is it, my turn now? Did we go through it again, I guess, already? Yeah. Okay. I guess it is. See, this is where, again, like even listening to Lauren, the way you were singing, that's where, like, you know, like I have to draw on you guys who here. Some of you were tuned in. I was doing a tarot broadcast last week, and I like basically made my own version of like a postal service song. Like it was like yeah, like it was like an Owl City song that I was inspired by, and I basically like gave my own version of that. I want to try more of like the singing stuff. So I've done like the playful guitar Merlin thing. I do want to practice kind of going into a little bit more of like the singing. So if you guys are willing to hold space for that, I'll see what comes through. Let me see if I can think of like a theme or something like that. Okay. All right. I think I got something.
I love your singing. I watched that last week. It was awesome.
Thank you, Candice. You guys are boosting my confidence here. All right, I feel like a rock star on stage. Okay, let's do this. You guys feel free to pull out your lighters. Okay, all right, here we go. Are you gonna like shine your phones? Okay. Just give me a minute here. Today you're just a seed that's floating around in my dreams. Once upon a time, you were just a distant memory, and yet here you are in my life, my little star. Because even before you were here, I've always felt that you were near. This child of mine who lives in my heart, a union of two who came from far apart. For beyond the story, who will you be? Here to awaken to this great mystery And someday you too will sing your song. And someday you too will stay up all night long as you pass these stories to a child of your own. For I am simply here to walk you home. And with your mother and I, we feel you in our hearts, shining from inside. You're our little star. And who will you be? What will the songs that you sing sound like to me? And I'm so grateful to know you before we have even had the chance to meet. For when the day comes, when you wrap your hands around my fingertip, I'll look into your eyes and say, I've been waiting for a moment like this, for you to help me find a place within my own heart, a place that's primordial, that's been there from the start. And so you're not just my child, you're a child of the sun. You are a being of your own light, a fractal of the one. And just like the seed from this old tree, you too shall grow to be who you are here to be. And I sing this song so that you can hear it now, so that you can feel this love that's rippling through. My heart to yours is connected by a beat, and I am so excited for the day when we shall meet. Cha 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 cha. I guess that's like the first song that I've ever sang and written about my child who's not even born yet. Like that's what that was.
I love it. He or she heard it in the ethers. And they love it.
Thank you, Candice. Yeah, how was that for you guys? Did that any feedback on that from anybody else as well? Was that a song? Did that sound like something?
I feel like you're really good at coming up with just, I don't know, like lots of words. Like for me, I feel like I have like certain concepts that I just go back to that, I mean, I guess I don't need to call it cheesy, but like a lot more like simplified concepts sometimes. But yeah, you have a good way of just like coming up with lots of different concepts.
Thank you, Lauren. And I think honestly, I know exactly what you're saying, because I think even within my own stuff, there are certain like safe themes where I'm just like, oh, I'll just talk about fractals and trees and things like that. Like and that's okay. I think what's interesting about Flowetry is that, you know, it actually kind of like holographically changes as we ourselves kind of go through our own experiences, and suddenly, you know, like an experience can birth like a whole new perspective that can lead to things we can talk about. One thing that's kind of interesting is, again, you know, even as we continue to like study like spiritual wisdom, you know, it's like you might read a book and maybe that book in itself will suddenly be like, whoa, like this is actually, you know, maybe I can sing songs about the stuff that I'm reading and everything. So yeah, again, you know, with the practice of Flowetry, it is kind of the practice of dissolving that boundary that, yes, there are familiarities with themes, but even within that, you know, it's like to open yourself up to kind of like tap into that like infinite Akashic field, that infinite kind of like library of wisdom. And that's where sometimes you kind of do it and you'll be like, whoa, like where did that come from? Like that wasn't just from something I knew, but it was like something that kind of like spoke through me in the moment. So does that make sense? Again, it's kind of like the practice evolves as we evolve. It's really beautiful that way. So yeah, but Lauren, thank you again. So yeah.
I just wanted to share like a little bit of gratitude. I have a lot of clairvoyance, and I closed my eyes and just like listened to your words, and it was so precious to just kind of see your little story unfold. That was gorgeous. Thank you for sharing that, Brendon.
That's interesting that like, you know, even when we're here listening to each other, like we get the chance to kind of like close our eyes and like visualize or just see what visuals come through, you know, when we're doing that. Cause yeah, like even when I was doing that, like I wasn't looking at you guys, I was like staring off into the void. I don't know if that was obvious, but like my mind was like it was like imagining like a movie or something. Right. So I was like seeing the scenes. And then I was like almost like singing about the scenes that I was seeing. So like, again, like the context there, I was just like, okay, I'm going to sing a song about my child that, again, you know, so, as many of you know, like Lacey is, her and I are having a child in April. And it was just kind of like, okay, like that, the love is there already. And then it was like, oh, okay, let's, you know, again, as much as I was doing it here for you guys, it was, special for me because I got to kind of like hear myself. I don't know. It's very meta. It's very meta. And then in some way it's like feeling that connection back. So it's like the song actually creates like an energetic connection between ourselves and whatever we're singing about. Like, honestly, like this might not be for today, but if you guys are like, oh, what could I sing about? Sing a song if you want. I'm not telling you to, but an idea, like try, see what happens. And you can do this outside of this because it could be quite vulnerable. Maybe sing a song about your ancestors, sing a song about your connection to family, to, you know, those that you legitimately, you know, like have a connection with in some way or another. That I feel, because I've done that before where it's like, whoa, like I could sing about people that I love. Like there's no limit to that. That for me is like the love is like an infinite well of inspiration that kind of goes in sync with that frequency. Does that make sense, so to speak? Hence why love songs are so popular, right? Like there's like no limit on love songs, right? So
yeah, it was also very, you like carried that theme of the lullaby from earlier through, and it was like the first lullaby for your little baby.
Right. I'll have to play it for them years later and be like, this is the first lullaby I wrote for you. But it's interesting because like, even for me, when I'm singing that, I'm like, the song, some of you would notice this, but it's like, it sounds like a song I've sung before. The words are different, but there's like cadences that I use where I'm like, I've literally like hit those same notes before. So even for me, I'm like aware of that, but then I'm trying not to do it. I'm like, go in a different direction. But I find myself like being like, I don't know if you go back and listen last week, I sang last month when we did this, or last time we did this, I sang a song about Lacey and it was another love song. And there was like, it sounded similar. It was a different song, but there was like certain parts where I felt myself going back to it. So for me, that's kind of my growth edge is like, I want to hear myself sing something that I've like, that's like not anything that I've done before, but it was still good though. So.
But maybe that's like a lullaby from like a past life or something.
There is a tune, like there's a tune there where it's like this is a tune where it's like do 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 do, and then it kind of varies from, I don't know, that tune, that frequency. I don't, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me. What was that, Lauren?
I said it's your soul song.
Well, I was going to say, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like a song from Legend of Zelda where it's like, do, 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 do. Like, it's like I swear it's that. It's just like something of my own style of that or something like that.
Yeah, our soul song is like our video game music, background music.
Yeah. Makes sense. So cool. Anyways, thank you guys so much for holding space. That was fun. That will be my last one for tonight. So we'll just go around one last time for anybody else who would like to be able to share. Thank you again to everyone who's been here. Those of you who jumped in a little bit late, thank you as well. And Lauren, would you like to go next? Just kind of sticking with the order we had originally.
I am actually going to be dipping to have dinner that my boyfriend
That's totally
made.
Cool.
But yeah, just want to express gratitude to everybody for holding space. This was really a fun little experience. Yeah, I'm excited to do more of this.
Cool. Well, Lauren, thank you again. And for those of you listening to this in the future, Lauren's Instagram is in the YouTube info. So be sure to check out more of Lauren's, like, I was going to say actual music, as if this wasn't actual, more of her music craft that she records. So Lauren, thank you again. And we look forward to having you back. So
yeah, thank you. It's good meeting everybody. Bye.
Awesome. Beautiful. Cool. So again, we're in the closing stages, so we'll just kind of go around. Again, just sticking with the order. Kristen, would you like to go next, and then Candice, if you would like to go next, and then at that point, maybe I'll just do one more quick one, and then we'll be done for today as well. So, Kristen, did you want to give another one a go, and then Candice, if you want to go after that?
I will give it a go. I was like trying to find I was trying to find a flow to find, but I think I'm gonna just let it be.
Cool.
Whatever comes.
Yeah, and again, another good place is like the gratitude. You know, like you were kind of doing that earlier. Gratitude's like a good place to tap into.
I've never actually practiced letting myself drop somewhere deep with it. I'd like to practice. We'll see.
Cool. Whatever comes through. So, all right. So, well, everybody here, let's show Kristen some love. So.
Okay, so the giggles are where my heart leads me to go, and that's okay to find your flow. And whenever I allow myself to take a deep breath, I can center and focus and allow myself to find what's left and move to the place that is deep within my heart, allowing it to go back to the very start, the moment the light began to shine in the dark, and finding that spark, and allowing the love to build and grow like a tiny fire with a little glow, and a breeze just slight as it burns the fire to grow and grow and grow. And as the flames ignite and expire, they reach into the unfurls of the fire. And each little spark, as it breaks into the dark, allowing that light to move into the heart, and to allow this space to be centered and ground, and allow yourself to feel what is in the spaces between the sound, and knowing your heart beats with each breath, and knowing in your soul what is very best. You can begin to trust each step you take as though it were meant for you to make, and knowing your way is not always necessary in this particular way of play. Thank you, guys.
Good job, Kristen. That was good. Did you find doing it with your eyes closed that time? Did you find it was a little bit of a different experience for you?
Yeah, so I actually normally close my eyes when I channel, so I probably should, but I really love practicing. Like, if I can look you in the eye while I'm still channeling, while I still focus on that energy, that's like I'm going to get there one day, but yeah, definitely always find it's easier whenever I go back into this. And look at me, I'm holding my selenite wand. Don't mind me, just cleansing my energy.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I forgot to tell you guys, it's easier when you hold your crystals like this, man. Might as well. Yeah, oh, Eloiss has got hers too. There you go. So cool. Well, awesome. Kristen, how did that feel? And again, we can get close to wrapping it up here, so.
Yeah, it felt better. I felt like I was really allowing myself to find like a slower pace with it, as opposed to trying to be more methodical or even intentional, because I kind of started it without an intention. And so it felt like floating in the dark. I guess that's why I lit a fire.
Floating through void space. Yeah. Well, that was awesome, Kristen. I again, even just like being here tonight, we can already witness like a bit of the progression in the evolution of your style, and congrats to you for just trying something outside of your comfort zone. That was awesome, Kristen. So right here, show love, Kristen. Yeah, cool. All right. With that said, Candice, if you would, oh, Kristen, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I just wanted to share like gratitude, just general gratitude.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brendon, for these spaces and for everyone sharing their gifts. It's always really beautiful to know that we can come to a place and be received and be our true selves and hear as well. So anyways, yeah, thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kristen. All right. Again, just getting close to wrapping it up. Candice, if you would like to give it another go, please, by all means, and then I'll do one more quick one and then we'll be done after that. So
yeah, I'll go.
Okay. So Candice, when you're ready, the stage is yours, and for everybody here, show love to Candice.
Just like as I flow on the carpet around the world, I give thanks to the magic fidelity of family singing together. Thank you for allowing the growth become free, become alive to in all and for me. Thank you. Love you all.
Thank you, Candice. Wonderful job. So beautiful, Candice. Well, again, I know you joined in a little bit late, but thank you for jumping in and for being so brave and for sharing from your heart. And how did that feel for you, Candice? Even just being here and joining in and getting to see everything too.
I loved it. I felt like at first it was kind of like scary to let down my vulnerability, but it's so cool to be in connected family of floaty art, and be myself is awesome gift, and I love it, and I'll always come.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Candice, for sharing. And yeah, this has been again, as always, every time we do these Flowetry circles, it's always very special, very heart opening in its own ways, healing in other ways. So thank you again, everyone. I'll just
send me the recording.
I will. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Hey, Brendon.
Johnny, yo, what's up, dude? What's up, Robert?
I wrote something real quick.
Yeah, dude. Robert, I wasn't sure if you're listening, but if you want to be able to jump in, please, by all means. And then after that, I'll finish it off. So Robert, are you on camera or are you just on audio for this one?
I'm just on audio.
Okay, cool.
Just trying to tiptoe myself back into these places. I've been in a little bit of a dark place, and I hold gratitude that you consistently hold these spaces, and it definitely helped me get out of my head and onto the paper, and get back into community and all that jazz.
Well, awesome. Well, Robert, take your time. You can meditate before going into it, and please, man, you said this is something you wrote out ahead of time?
Yeah, I knew this space was open, and I was preventing myself from pretty much doing anything, and I just started writing.
Cool. All right, well, Robert, we're holding space for you. Thank you again, and when you're ready, please, by all means, go right ahead and share.
As we deny ourselves the space to play, to converse with others, to frolic and be so gay, we allow our egos to pull us away, no matter how great our lives may be, like a bat, we are lost, and all we have is our voice to see, to lead ourselves back to where we once agreed, where we had no needs, just love and community, under, over, and understanding each other again, traveling through space and time like a pack of wild cosmic steeds. When we lose balance and allow ourselves to fall, our ego rushes in with its infesting fleas, keeping us from any sort of meditation, openness, or even enjoy a simple cup of tea. What could it be? It's always you, it's always me, it's always we. It's always the disconnection from all that we can appreciate and see. As our hearts grow, our minds convince us that our needs need to grow also. This is a lie, as we realize every time we lie down in bed and die again to give ourselves another shot to try again. Every now and then we get lost and we can't find our ancient proverbial den that we've come to know so well, that at times we find ourselves at the bottom of that well and deny ourselves the strength we have used so many times to lift ourselves out of. Learning to be more careful, knowing that when push comes to shove, never again, we may never be able to love, lost, looking to the sky for the next dove, going through the next season with the same old gloves, tirelessly searching for the sticks to keep that fire within protected, when in reality, we need to open up, let in the wind to fuel that fire, let the earth grow to provide sticks for that fire, let the water be by your side to prevent the unnecessary spread of what may not serve the world to its highest good. Finally, coming back to a place where we feel completely understood.
Beautiful. Thank you, Robert, and everybody here showing love for Robert. And again, you know, with the Flowetry we're doing here, like obviously this is again a space for us to practice like speaking in the moment. But you know, for anybody listening, like the Flowetry shows up in many practices. So for, you know, in this case, like the ability to just take pen to paper or fingers to keyboard, and for some people, you guys may find be like. And that's a practice too, you know, just be like, open up a text document and then just start typing and then just kind of like see what comes through. For some of you who maybe tune in, you may be like, actually, you know what, like that for me almost like works better, so to speak. So Robert, thank you again for sharing. And again, when we go around, we usually just ask people, you know, like, how did that feel? Obviously you kind of like wrote this one ahead of time as well, but please do, by all means, go ahead and share if there's anything else you would like to share, and share how that felt if you wish.
I am just I don't even know. I could keep writing and flowing, but I don't have much else to say.
Well, Robert, gratitude for you being here. And again, like even just, it's interesting when we do this where, again, you know, we get to be able to like feel the feelings of another person's expression. And I know all of us were kind of like closing our eyes while meditating that. And there's a lot of feeling behind that. So Robert, thank you for sharing your heart song with us here tonight. So happy to have you here, dude.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, thank you again to everyone for joining us here for tonight's Flowetry workshop. I'll just do like a quick little fun closing one, and then we'll wrap it up here for today. And again, the Flowetry workshops, we do these at least about once a month within the Paradigm Shift Central project. And again, for those of you who have been inspired by this, feel free to join on the Patreon and get access to the future Flowetry workshops that we do. And yeah, we'll just do one more one, and then we'll just go around with closing gratitude. So real quick, just going into like basic Flowetry style. So, and oh, what a beautiful night it has been to be here amongst fellow seekers and kin, because how magical it was to express from our heart, to be able to celebrate the unique joy and the expression of this art. For the art is to simply be here in this place, to be able to allow ourselves to see the joy that comes when we allow ourselves to play, because this is about singing a much bigger song. And here we are allowing ourselves to celebrate the verses all night long. And yet nothing is versus anything within this game, for we are all players here to be able to share a much bigger name. And this name is love. This name is a deeper truth. And I'm so grateful for each and every single one of you for bringing the unique magic that is your song. And I continue to support and inspire you to keep singing it forever and ever and ever, all along. So all night long, all night long, all night long, all night long. Anyways, all right, cha 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 cha, Flowetry, pop 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 pop. Thank you guys so much. We'll just go around real quick with a little bit of gratitude, and then we'll close off this intentional space. So yeah, again, this has been absolute pleasure. It's been a joy. It's been great practice. I appreciate everybody who's been part tonight. I appreciate everybody who's listening to this in the future. If you guys are listening to this in the future, please feel free to send me or anybody here a direct message, express your gratitude. Let us know, did this inspire you? And please, by all means, I hope that this encourages and supports you in doing your own Flowetry practices, be it again, writing things out ahead of time, or practicing speaking in the moment, practicing songs, practicing vocaling. One thing we didn't even get into tonight was like the whole idea of, maybe I'll save this for next month, but like light language Flowetry, like Flowetry, light language is like a whole thing that I've only practiced a little bit. Like if I were to I'm just like, okay, hold on. Let me take 2 seconds here. Like what does light language Flowetry, what does that sound like for me? I got something here. Give me a second here. So, okay. So light language is again, kind of like this, like way of speaking. It's almost like the modern, like it's like speaking, it's like tongues. It's like speaking in tongues. It's an intuitive feeling that is not just a language that we recognize as English, but it's like an ancient primordial language. So I'll just kind of tap in and speak through the language of light. So this is a bit of an experiment. This is me going outside my comfort zone. I'm glad I remember this. I'm like, oh, okay, one more. Okay. Salintin kanta, sala suntu, kalinkaf sampu sa kanta ta su, sala kaliantu, kolin sahuntu, zali takarunta, arun salkanhu, silion karakhu, ati khanta hua. Salaku halati taka santa hua. Cha 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 cha. I don't know. Man, the light language is interesting because it's just like it brings up like this, like I don't know. It's like some sort of like, you could call it like imposter syndrome or something like that. It's like, is this light language, or am I just pretending to do what I think light language might sound like? It honestly, that's how light language starts. You kind of have to just be like, what the hell am I doing? And then eventually it's just, it's like there's a different style of light language that comes through all of us, which is interesting because you don't just want to like try and like mimic someone else, but you can hear them as a way to kind of get in. We'll do light language more another time. Again, just getting cool. Did that, well, I don't know, what was that to you guys? Because again, even when we do that, it's like there's like a vibration or a frequency. I don't know. Well, you tell me.
It was awesome. I loved it.
Thing? Okay, thanks, Candice.
I got like really like prickly tingles in my in my neck, like in the very top of my neck.
Oh shit! I guess it worked. It did something.
Mine was in my hand, like the top of my hand.
Oh really?
And I almost, sometimes when I listen to light language, I almost start wanting to like do the hand movements myself.
It's the hand movements with it, yeah.
And it is very bizarre, but yeah, that's my experience. I love light language, but I don't speak it either yet. I'm just like, I've been dabbling, but I love like the tingles and the listening to it.
That's interesting that like even just doing that there for you guys, it like, again, I refer to them as like activation sensations. So like Kundalini tingle up the spine sort of thing. That was interesting. And again, like even it's interesting because when we're doing light language, I get to play with like weird things that I do with my voice that don't get used in an ordinary language. Like there's no point in my ordinary dialect where I'm like, oh, like there's like these weird, like, I don't know, for me, like even when I did this like a long time ago, when I was practicing it, like people would be like, oh, that's like Lyran light language. Like, it's like, you sound like you're part lion when you're doing it. And I'm like, am I? Like, is that what that is? Like, there's like little noises that I make that are like, almost like animal. Like, it's like, there's these like purr noises or something. I don't know. It's weird, man. We'll have to talk more about it in another broadcast. Kristen, any other insight on this?
I think it's beautiful that it's something that people are exploring more, and I encourage anybody that's here or listening to just practice your own flow with it. If it's something that it inspires and ignites you, then I would love to practice if that's
cool.
Like,
that's cool. We'll put a couple more minutes on the clock. And I was going to say, for those of you who are like fairly new to this, one of our friends in the community, Sharon, aka Share the Light, we had on a previous podcast. Some of you probably would have heard her doing light language there. Go follow her. She even has like a community like workshop event that she does with her membership. That is all about light language transmission. I've been meaning to jump in for one of those, but the light language is a very interesting area to be able to explore and incorporate with Flowetry. It's kind of, again, it goes back to this idea of like the channeling aspect of Flowetry. Kristen, please, if you're feeling the call, which is great, because it's just like, oh, like the idea of doing light language, if it excites you, like it's like, feel into that, ride that wave. So Kristen, we're here to support you. And if you want to, and do you have experience doing light language? I guess just even prior to like,
I it's more of a private practice. I don't do a lot of it like in public, but I do it in my healing sessions, and you'll see TikToks every now and then from me with them in it. But I've definitely, it's something like, I want to say about 2 years ago, I started doing with my hands, the playing with the energy bit. And then whenever I learned more about like, actually, I think it was more whenever I connected with my throat and being able to speak was whenever it moved from my hands to the words, and like being able to do the two of them together. Once you find that flow, it's like this energy channel that just, anyways, it's pretty
very cool. Cool. All right. Well, Kristen, we're here to support you, and when you're ready, take your time.
Okay, now I'm nervous. Okay.
I love it.
Okay. All right. Hi ekli asimia hu shie kinahi sufua iliani kio sipi nihia ili ni kufshia nihia Nikon hai and the hiena shabani ki hu shibiani rau kuapsina and he close
Beautiful, Kristen. Thank you so much. Yeah, again, it's like Doing light language is an interesting experience because it's like I don't know, it's a different style of frequency sort of thing, because it's just and it's a lot, it's again within the Flowetry practice, it's like surrender, you know, it's a lot of just kind of like I'm opening myself up to, again, just kind of like something else. But then again, it's like kind of like that balance of like thinking about the things that you're sounding, but then again, more kind of like feeling. I don't know, Kristen, how was that for you? Anything you want to add to that?
So that was totally different than what I usually experience, because usually I set the intention for healing specifically with light language. And this one was just like, I just wanted to practice a flowetry with it. So it definitely felt a lot different for me to be like speaking in a flowetry sense as opposed to utilizing it as a tool. So
interesting. Yeah. New avenues of play there. So cool. Awesome. Anybody else who's feeling called before we wrap it up? We'll do closing gratitude in a moment. So last call, anybody else who might feel called to share any sort of flowetry before we wrap it up? And,
beautiful.
Cool.
The light language.
Yeah. Candice, any thoughts on the light language?
It was just beautiful. Like the heart just spoke the truth of beauty of the art of expression through song. It is very healing, like it heals the planet. And we're all one, and sharing celebration it's healing experience.
Absolutely.
Glad to be part of the circle is the best ever.
Thank you, Candice. So thank you everyone for making this the best circle ever. Thank you, Candice. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Eloiss. Thank you, Ashley and Robert. And for anybody else who is tuning in, thank you to Lauren, who was with us earlier. And we'll wrap it up here. Again, I look forward to being able to have another one of these Flowetry workshops. If any of the leading members in the community, if you guys are like, you know what, like I want to host a Flowetry workshop, please, by all means, like continue this practice, create more spaces. It's not just something that I need to be creating. I think if we can have other people hosting Flowetry workshops, that's totally fine as well. And for those of you who are listening to this, a reminder, if you're not already, listen to the podcast on Spotify so you can take it with you on the go. Spotify Paradigm Shift Radio. This recording is also up on YouTube if you're on Spotify. Check the links in the info for this video to be able to connect with all the people that you've seen here in the circle. And again, if you'd like to be able to support on Patreon, if you're not already yet, feel free to check that out, join our monthly membership, and please feel free to tell your friends and bring this inspiration with you out into your reality as well. So keep sharing from the heart, and I am one with the flow, and the flow is within me, and the flow is within you as well. So any other closing gratitude from anybody else here, and then we'll officially wrap it up. So any last call? Kristen, you guys have already pretty much expressed your gratitude. Eloiss, all good. Candice, all good. So cool.
I just want to express my gratitude to everyone. Thank you for sharing your creativity and gift, and thanks for just allowing me to be here in the space. And Brendon, thank you for hosting all these events. They're awesome, and I love being a part of the community.
Beautiful. Thank you, Candice, and thank you for joining and for bringing your creativity to it as well. So cool. All right, team, wrapping up this Flowetry circle. Please feel free to join me in saying farewell. And until next time, you guys can unmute your mic. So bye, everybody. Keep that flow. Love you guys. Bye. Love you guys.
Bye. Bye.